Oh, I did all those on yellow. However many that is, like 9 or 10.
Jesus,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
I was
That's
half expecting you to say I
bonkers.
did it. I've
done it in all of them.
Done it with all of them.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, there's other examples of how sicko some of these challenges get that I didn't even get into. Just like,
Hell yeah.
yeah. Like inflation is one where like everything increasingly costs more every time you make a purchase.
That's cool.
The entire economy increases every time. So you have to be like very diligent about what you're buying.
Do I need, not do I want this? Like, do I need this?
Yes.
Yeah. That's
This is
cool.
my strategy.
So good. That's so smart. Like, Balatro's a masterpiece.
I think so. Yeah. I think it is.
I got to play more of that one.
Yeah.
I don't have it. I don't hold it in quite as high of regard as you guys, but I still do like that game a lot.
Yeah.
Like for what it is, it's just like you can't make it any better than that.
Yeah,
You know
I
what
don't think so.
Like,
I think,
Yeah.
yeah. And that's kind of what I mean when I mean like a masterpiece is like,
Yeah,
this is
that
the best
I don't
version
argue, yeah.
of this game.
like you can't make it
Yes.
better than this. Yeah.
Yeah. And like,
Yes.
that's kind of how I feel about Death's Door too, is like, it's like, I can't imagine a version of this game that is any better than this.
Holy moly.
Hey everybody, welcome to Pursuing Pixels. My name's Kevin Portelli, and I'm here tonight with John Hines
Hey there.
and Randall Nolery.
Hey, folks.
And we are back as always to talk about some video games. I feel like we got a pretty healthier list here for the this episode here than usual.
We love
I think
video
we sometimes
games.
have like 3, 4, 5 games. We got like 6 or 7 here, so just get rolling right into the mix here. And I'm just going to get things rolling with some of the stuff that I've been playing. I talked about this one on a Save It for the Cast recently, but I have not been able to put this game down. This is like, I'm like addicted to this game almost. I'm not going to put it quite on that level yet, but this is almost like Downwell levels of addiction. Hyper Meteor. I am so hooked on this game. It's the newest game from Vertex Pop, and I actually recently talked about Super Crush KO. We've talked about, I think, Graceful Explosion Machine back in the day. I can't remember if maybe I just made a video for that game. I'm sure it's come up in passing, though, but they've made quite a few really cool games at this point, and We Are Doomed is another one that I actually just scooped up on sale for the same price. They're both Hyper Meteor and We Are Doomed were on sale for like $250 or something like that, so I think they're only like $8 anyways, but nonetheless, Hyper Meteor was a game that had been on my radar. I saw that they announced it kind of out of the blue. I think I had just seen it on like social media or something, but it really just caught my eye. It's got like to me, it almost looks like a Nintendo DS game, kind of just something about like the resolution, and the pixel, like even the animation,
too.
frame rate, and the presentation and the menus. It just really feels like a Game Boy Advance or a DS game. But basically, the gameplay here, it's like a single screen arcade situation. Like it's not top down, it's like side on, but essentially like top down controls, and you just control this little like triangle spaceship. And you're just basically like steering the joystick in any direction. And if you don't touch anything, your ship or your little triangle will be moving like super slowly, and you can steer it around however you like. And then you can hold down or feather the thrust button to kind of give yourself a little extra momentum. And that's one thing I have to get a little bit better at when I'm playing this game. Although I'm pretty decent. I'm climbing those leaderboards. It's been like my main obsession. I don't think there's like millions of people playing this game, so I don't know how stiff the competition is, and I don't know if it's like only a Nintendo Switch leaderboard or if it's cross-platform. My presumption is that it's probably only for the Switch, but I actually played a run right before we hopped on, or a little bit before we hopped on here, and I just climbed up. I was at number 34 on the leaderboard for Endless Mode. I actually bumped up to number 21. But I got a long way to go. I think I got like, my score was about 11,000 points. The number 1 and number 2 are like neck and neck, but they're at like 50,000. So like I got a ways to go to get up to that range, but I feel like I can definitely maybe get on that like top screen of like the top, like I think it's like 8 or 10, where like you wouldn't have to scroll to see your name at all. But I don't know what it is about this game. Like you don't actually, it's like kind of like a shoot 'em up, bullet hell, but you don't actually shoot. The only thing you do in this game is you just basically, there's like at the start of the game or a run or whatever, there's a few different game modes as well that throw some different wrinkles into the mix. But like the core conceit is like, there's basically like these giant asteroids or meteors or whatever, and they're spinning around, rotating, and like one half of them is like a lighter color, and there's a bunch of different color palettes that you can like unlock and stuff like that. And actually everything in the game is unlocked. That's one like small gripe. You got to keep unlocking like the game modes and the songs on the soundtrack. The palettes I'm all about, like just keep unlocking those as we go. But like when it's like, I got to play how many runs just to unlock this new game mode or whatever. But it didn't take too long. I've got everything unlocked, and I don't think I've put more than like 2 hours into this game at this point. But there's just something, basically, I don't even think I finished the thought about the gameplay, but basically these, like, there'll be a lighter side and a darker side, and you just have to ram your ship into, like, the lighter, unprotected side of that meteor, and then as things go on, there'll be new enemies thrown into the mix, and it's that same conceit. Like, there's a darker part of them that's, like, shielded. If you run into that, you die. If you smash into the lighter part, it just, like, explodes them, and you kill them. And then if there's enemy bullets, you just have to dodge those. But if you kill the enemy that shot those bullets, the bullets disappear off the screen. There's just all those like little extra touches that are like make it a little like, I don't want to get in there. Like it's risky to get in there and try to kill that enemy that's firing off these bullets. But if I can squeeze in there and get it, then all the bullets are gone, and then I got way more real estate to work with. So nice. It just gets like really just addictive. I don't know what it is about the gameplay that's just like so addictive. Like right off the bat, like at first you start getting all the feedback like, oh, you got a 5 combo or you got a 10 combo. And like at first I was like, oh, I got a 25 combo. Nice. I'm pretty good at this game. And like on the run I had earlier, I think my combo ended at like 245 or something like that. But the combo meter is pretty generous. Like if you hit like a meteor on one complete like opposite corner of the screen and go all the way to the other side, like if you jet all the way over there, like you can keep that combo going. So like as long as you're kind of like thinking ahead a little bit, like looking at like, okay, I'm going to plow through this one. And as soon as like already thinking of where you're going to be heading next, you can really kind of keep that going. And then you can also screen wrap. And that's the thing I think I mentioned before, but I really got to make a little more use of that because I get like afraid of it because I'm afraid I'm going to like pop out on the other side and run into something that I don't intend to, which I do all the time.
It's got some asteroids DNA that way, I would say. Which is very, very old game.
Yeah, but it's got construct. Even if I recall, that game Asteroids has like that kind of thrust like momentum too, right?
Yes.
So it's very much got that kind of gameplay to it. And it's just, I don't know, just something, it just keeps ramping up. Like, I don't know if it's just based on points or whatever it is, but it kind of like, you like level up, if you will. And like, so when level 2 appears, then it starts throwing new enemies into the mix. So there'll be like these triangle enemies that you can only attack from behind. And then they start throwing these like kind of, I don't know, they look almost like origami or something like that, but they kind of rotate and they can only be attacked from behind. Then they start throwing in these like giant like planets that have like almost like a moon rotating around them, like in their orbit. So you have to hit that moon to then make the planet vulnerable and then smash into the planet and blow that up. And then actually on that deepest run that I was just on, they started throwing like that planet, instead of just having like one moon, it had like, or whatever you want to call it, planetoid rotating around it. Like there were 3 of them that I had to hit before I would like make the actual like planet itself vulnerable to break. But like they just do such a good job of like just, I don't know, just like the runs are short and sweet. Like even that deep run I had, maybe if I get to 50,000 to be a little longer of a run, but I don't think I played for more than like 10 or 15 minutes to get like that deep into the game. But it just keeps like, as you go deeper and deeper, I think I got to like, it said final stage. So it seemed like it was just going to maybe keep throwing more enemies into the mix. But there was even like a black hole that was like sucking me into the center. Kind of throwing off your trajectory. Like, I don't know, just something about this game just has the hooks in me like you wouldn't believe. Like, I don't know. I just really love this game.
That's cool. I just learned that apparently this started out as a Playdate game. I did not realize that.
Okay.
I can kind of see that because actually one of the color palettes is called Cranky, and it looks very much like a Playdate palette because it's like it's right next to like the, I don't know, it's high contrast or something. It's like black and white. And then it's like basically that, but dull. And I was like, oh, this kind of looks like the Playdate. And I was like, oh, I bet that's what they mean with the Cranky. So
yeah. Oh, that's cool.
That's really cool. I didn't know that. Oh man, that's actually extra cool because I could see that crank. Like I don't know if you use that for like the thrust rotation or something, or the thrust,
or
the rotation. Either one could actually work pretty cool. But that's one thing that I actually really like. A lot of those games that control this way. They almost use like those tank controls, where you're just moving like left and right to aim the ship.
Yeah.
And then you're using the thrust. This game doesn't work that way. You're just like top down, like steer, if you want to move up, just up, point left, point diagonal, wherever you want to move. You can really like just, do zigzags all over the place, like really kind of go nuts with the steering. But yeah, just really, really love this game. And then one other game I just wanted to give kind of a quick shout out to, because I didn't really get to play much of it. And it does seem like a game. It's one that I actually picked up. It was on sale for about $4. It's normally 10, but it's from Devolver Digital. It's called Heave Ho. And it's one of those games that like even the trailer for it, like it just seems like it's made to be played multiplayer. The trailer's like showing people like at a convention playing, and every time they die, they're like, oh, like streaming and having fun. And like, so it's like, I was thinking about it. I was like, oh, me and my friends have been like doing some gaming nights here and there. And I'm always talking about, I got to bring my Switch and, play Killer Queen or play Towerfall or play. There's so many like multiplayer games I have on here that I've barely, if at all, played the multiplayer modes of.
Yeah.
So this Heave Ho game, basically you're like this character with like just kind of like a circle for a body. You have like a bunch of different like skins or whatever you can unlock, and like you have a bunch of different Devolver characters like you can kind of dress them up as or whatever. But basically you're just like this like body with two arms, and then you're using like the left and right shoulder buttons to grab with those two hands. So either your left hand or your right hand. And then you're basically just trying to like, it's very like physicsy. It's a platformer at heart. And it's mostly single screen stages. I did play one last night that had some scrolling. It actually seemed like a really long stage. But you're basically just trying to like grapple onto things, and like, it's physicsy, but not realistic. Like you're kind of just like rolling around and going all over the place. You can like swing upwards when like you really don't have any momentum that should allow you to do that, but you just kind of can. And you're just using like the left stick alone to kind of controls both hands.
Boom.
And then you're again, just like once you're if you're grabbed onto something and you're holding it down, then that hand's not going to move. And then you're just trying to like wiggle your way around and squirm your way through these stages and get to like the end goal. There's like a checkered flag, and it's usually like almost like a little like, I don't know, it's almost like a little basketball hoop kind of that you have to like land in. It's just a little like hump curve thing that you just land in to end the stage. And then there's I'm playing just solo mode, but there's two different multiplayer modes. There's like a versus racing mode where you're playing the stages and just trying to beat everyone to the finish line.
Nice.
And then there's like a cooperative mode where I think everyone has to make it to the finish line together, and you can the grappling comes into play because you can really like kind of like start getting some swinging going, and then you can really kind of like tag team with one another. Again, I'm just watching this in the videos. I haven't done this myself, but like you can grab one person can grab the other player's hand and kind of like build a chain to bridge a gap or something like that. So it just kind of opens up new ways to beat these stages. And for all I know, it could be a totally different set of stages that are built for, multiplayer mode. I don't really know that for sure, but I just really like, it's almost got a little bit of that, like not 100%, but like Ape Out presentation where it's like the pixels and it's like, it's not pixel art, but it's like, and it's not hand drawn, but it kind of is. And it's got that like squiggle wobble, Baba is you a little bit, not fully like quite as prominent as that, but it's just got a little bit of that. The music's really like kind of pleasant and relaxing. When you die, there's just like a really cool, like almost like Super Meat Boy style, like you get like a big splash explosion of your like the color of your character, and it kind of shows all the spots where you died before. So I don't know, just like a really fun one that, like, in all fairness, like I think it's probably like leans into that multiplayer aspect and having some fun and either helping your friends. I'm sure you can even kind of screw them over a little bit if you're playing like the racing mode. But yeah, just one that I'm kind of glad I picked up. I'd kind of like a lot of times those games that have those trailers where it's like people playing at a convention and it's like, oh, this is so strictly multiplayer.
Yeah.
I tend to like avoid them sometimes because I'm like, number one, when am I ever really going to play it? And number two, is there even a single player mode? Yeah. But I was like, for $4, like I'm just going to grab it. And even if we play it one time, at this point, I've had enough fun to like, I'm already just enjoying myself. But like, even if me and my friends play it one time, it's more than worth it. So
yeah,
having some fun with that one. Kind of like a little like, not sleeper hit because I think it's actually got some popularity, but I feel like that's one that from Devolver that you don't really hear about all that much. So
yeah, totally.
But yeah, Just a couple cool games that I've been enjoying lately. But why don't I kick it over to you, Randall, here for something you've been kind of polishing off?
A cool game that I've been enjoying all year.
Yes.
So I'm gonna bring a game here that I'm gonna talk about. It's called Balatro. I don't know if I've brought it to the
coming back around again
podcast yet, but last we spoke, I had gone through and unlocked all of the decks that I was at least aware of, and all the modifiers, at least on the yellow deck, all the way up. And I'm like,
madman,
what's left to do? There's no other video games. So there's challenges. There's like 20 preset defined challenge scenarios that you can go through. Mm-hmm. And it always intrigued me, but I'm like, no, don't do the challenges yet. You got to go through and do this other stuff first. And I did the other stuff. So I don't know. I just could not get enough of Balatro. I had to keep playing this. I don't know. Just compulsively compelled to complete this.
Wow, this
I love it.
Sounds so familiar. But go on, please.
But the challenges are really cool because they're all scenario based with very specific constraints that really play into I think them assuming that, okay, you've gone through and you've played all these quote unquote regular campaign decks, and you've gone through and you've done all the modifiers because that's the only way you could have unlocked all those other decks. Here's the challenge levels, and they kind of unlock over time. You don't have to do them all in order. I ended up doing most of them in order unless I was really stuck on one. I have not completed all of them. I've completed 19 out of 20 of the challenges.
Ooh.
To give some sort of, let me give some context as to what some of those things are. Like the first one is called the omelet, and it's all blinds give no reward money. Extra hands no longer give money. You earn no interest at the end of the round. So that's just one of them, right?
So it's a challenge. It's like a full run challenge.
Yes.
Okay.
You have to go through.
I know a lot of times
ante or whatever, right? That's what the rounds of 3 are called, antes, right?
Yeah. Because I know a lot of games that have an extra challenge. It's just it's almost like a little mini puzzle. Just beat this
we
one
scripted
thing
this
and then
thing
you move
out.
on.
You need to find the right solution to do it.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's not like that.
No,
that's what I was expecting.
No, it's constraints, but ultimately it's still very rogue-like. Like you're just starting it up and you get a bad hand and you're just fucked, and you better try and rerun it and rerun it and rerun it again until you get a good enough hand or a better strategy or both, and luck. You keep going, you push through. There's ones that the one that was really interesting, that's an early one, is Rich Get Richer, and your chips cannot exceed the current amount of money. You start with $100, but basically if you spend too much of your money, you're capping the amount of chips that you can score on a given hand. Yeah. So you're kind of having, and then you try to figure out okay, can I offset that by getting the gold cards or the gold seals to make money, or jokers that make money, so that I can, add that to my strategy. So it kind of keeps even Steven there to get through the antes. There's ones where, you're forced, there's eternal jokers. I talked a little bit about that before, where there's these preset jokers you can't get rid of. Ones, the ceremonial dagger joker, which basically kills the jokers to its right if it gains a mult. But in this circumstance, that is eternal. So it incentivizes you to kind of change up to the common jokers that you usually wouldn't give a shit about. It's oh no, I could feed this to my, dagger or whatever. Let me grab that common pack so that I'm continuing.
Let me use this joker as a shield.
That had never occurred to me as a strategy. And of course that's what you would do, and use those garbage jokers. God, this game is so good.
It's phenomenal. It's phenomenal. And that's what's so fun about the challenges is it's forcing you to think of, you can't just follow your common strategies anymore. You have to, like, you're beholden to this constraint that's been put on you and to play differently, right? So I'm on the last one, which is jokerless. There are no jokers. Ooh. And that is difficult.
Yeah.
I've tried that one a lot of times. I've gotten to like ante 6, I think, and it's like, all right, if I'm lucky enough, maybe I can get a spectral booster pack that lets me change, all the cards that are presented to me to one suit or one rank, right? And then I can build a strategy around that somehow, like 4 of a kind, if it's all the same rank. And I can up that if I'm lucky enough to get enough of those planet cards specifically. There's a lot of playing a flush to like try and do it. I've gotten close, but that one has been that's really hard. And like so then you're not incentivized anymore to like then like you have to think too with not the spectral packs, but the other ones. What are those called?
Planets or tarot?
The tarot boosters, so much of the tarot cards are based on enhancing or modifying jokers. Mm-hmm. Well, you don't have jokers. Those still appear. Sometimes you'll get a booster and both things will be joker-based effects, but you've got nothing to do. So you have to you've wasted that money effectively.
Skip that pack. Yeah.
So like you get into that sort of stuff too. So that's where I'm at now. I've completed all those other challenges. I kind of don't want to let go of the rope in this regard. I want to try to complete this. It's so easy to grab the Switch and just turn on the Balatro machine again to try another time and lose again. Man,
are you able to pick whichever deck you want for these challenges, or are they like every element is scripted essentially, like in terms of like what you're starting with? Okay.
Yes. Oh yeah. No, you don't get any control with that stuff at all. No, absolutely not.
Okay, I didn't know if it was like no joker, but you can pick, the yellow deck or the blue deck or whatever. It's just like it's no joker. With this deck.
Yeah, no, it's none. Yeah. And like one, here's another good example of one that tripped me out for a long time is the Golden Needle. You only get to play one hand per round. Discards cost $1 each. You start with $10. You do get the credit card joker, so at least you can go negative. So there's a little bit of fluff in there, but still you're up against it almost immediately where you can't buy enhancements very easily. You have to be creative about like, skipping the blind if it's a very specific enhancement to get through. And, if you go -20, well, then you've lost the room even negatively to do some of those things, right? So it's like...
This rules. This rules so much.
Yeah, it's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. Yeah. Game of the year.
Heck yeah.
This makes my, achievements and obsession just sounds like a fucking pitiful in comparison.
It became another NBA 2K for me during these trying times, so that helped my cause, I think, to just continue to push and push and push and push and push until I completed most of these.
Especially because I don't know how you're playing this most of the time other than I know you're on Switch, but it is one of those games that even though you're obviously thinking about all the moves you're making and whatever, but once you're in the groove with the game, you can be playing that game and be totally present, like hanging out with Tina and talking and whatever. Like you don't have to be so if I'm playing Downwell or like an intense game, I'm focusing 100% on this game
for sure.
I might be able to kind of be in the room with you, but I'm not present with you, or you can totally play Balatro and have a show on and talk and catch up from the work day. You know what I mean? It's got that element to it as well that I think it makes it even better.
Yes. And on top of that, Balatro is awesome in that even if you launched another Switch game, it's pretty good about remembering where you were in a run. Yeah. So you can play a couple of hands, close it, and then still continue where you were before if you opened it again, which is awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Nice.
Yes.
I
don't have to say more words. I can. That doesn't.
Well, you will when you beat that 20th last challenge. We got to get at least an update when you polish that off.
Yeah, I got until that end of the year pod to figure that one out, I suppose.
Heck yeah.
Oh,
Heck
man.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, why don't we kick it over to John for a little kind of completionist checklist gaming?
Yeah.
Whatever you want to call it.
So as you were talking about like getting on leaderboards, Kevin, earlier in the pod, like, well, I am firmly in the not necessarily opposite, but just a different type of gamer where I am so much more of a completionist, like Randall.
Yeah.
Like if there is a checkbox that is unchecked, I will run against it, like just to finish it.
Yep.
And a weird impulse that I've found with a lot of games that when I picked up the Steam Deck, I was buying a lot of games that I had on Switch, mostly because, you know, there was still the anxiety and uncertainty of, oh, will I have access to these games after the Switch is like no more?
Right.
And so, you know, there was a lot of games where I was like, you know what, I don't need to buy this game again. Or the complete opposite, I'd be like, no, I absolutely adored that game. I should pick it up again. And a couple of those were Steriden and Death's Door. And I
Heck yeah.
picked both of them up like when I was out for a month in training. And gosh, I still love those games. Still really good. Steriden, I think, is probably my favorite shoot 'em up. Like,
Which I didn't even know. I know we had played it together before, but I didn't know you were as into that game because like we used to play that, like DJ and I played it a lot together. And then I know when we would like get together as a group, we would fire that up once in a while and like just kind of pass the controller around. But I guess I never realized you enjoyed it that much.
yeah. And like with that and getting them now on Steam Deck, I am finding that I am very susceptible to, I bet I could get every achievement on this game. I bet I could prove to other people that I like this game. I can show my bona fides. It's like, actually, I am a big fan of the Norp Apolog. You see, I got every Steam achievement.
That's right.
Which is something I never really thought about when I was just playing these games on the Switch, which is, I think, a healthy way to interact with these games.
Yeah, because even the other platforms do that a little. They don't. I mean, they're a little different, but I would say
Platinum
the
trophies.
trophies.
They
and stuff
advertise
like that
a
on
little bit more.
PlayStation.
Yeah, between friends at least.
Achievements on Xbox. Yep.
But yeah, so I was replaying Death's Door, a game that we've talked about on this podcast and that I've spoken very highly of, but I had never fully beaten it. I had gotten to credits, which, you know, there is an achievement that says beat the game. So the game itself says that that's beating the game, but there is still more to do after you get to that point. And I decided that, you know what, now that I have this game and I'm replaying it, I'm going to see it through. And I got the true ending, the 100% file, like unlocked everything, did everything, found every secret. But there was still one achievement left, which was to beat the game using the umbrella as your only melee weapon, which is a 50% damage output. And I was like, you know what? I'm in the right headspace to play this game for a third time. And I just booted it straight back up and started it and beat it with the umbrella, and goddamn, still a good game.
You already beat it again, like, because that's a pretty long game,
buddy. In this game, once you know, like, it is crafted game. It, like, the level design is so tight. And like, when you're first
even the little bit
exploring
I played,
and when you're not in the groove, when you're still like, because when I was picking it back up after not having played it for I don't know, a year or so, and replaying it, I was still running into all of the difficulties of like, I don't remember how this enemy works. I don't remember how this boss works. I don't remember like the timing that comes down on these magic or like sub weapons. But if you just have beaten the game and have all of that fresh in your mind, and the only thing that you have to worry about is like, all right, I'm just not doing any damage with my melee weapon at all, and I'm just using it to recharge my magic. and it just turns it into a little different way of playing the game.
Yeah.
Where suddenly everything becomes a ranged attack and you can't do the same techniques that you were using before. So,
Love it.
It was great. I loved it. I love when a stupid
gosh.
thing is like a little stunt.
But it's like a stupid thing, but it's also kind of like a hardcore gamer thing.
Oh,
like,
big
I don't know.
time.
It's like definitely like, oh man, get hardcore and like beat this game in a very unorthodox fashion.
and like there is one, I think, well, I don't know, hard achievement left in Steriden, which is to beat the game with only the like default basic weapon, and I have not gotten that. But like everything after that is more of just like, oh, get X amount of kills or do that. And like that's kind of where I'm at with Hexel. Like I had played Hexel to the point where, you know, I was doing the weekly challenge, and one of the things was to beat the weekly puzzles with 0 errors. And I had failed it so many times, and those are just staring at a logic puzzle. So I was putting in like 2 hours into a like Sudoku essentially, and then making one mistake and being like, cool, I guess I'll wait till Sunday to get a new one.
That's painful.
And so like once I got that, now I'm just like, oh, I can just play this for fun now and keep ranking that up until I get the maximum number of points. I don't know. But
It's amazing.
I don't know. That's the type of gamer I am, is just trying to get every little nook and cranny and learn every bit of like the layout of a game, the exact like geography, the way that the mechanics work. And I like to dissect a game.
Yes.
Yeah, well, it's funny. It's funny how that can like shift the way you're playing it can so shift like the way you think about it. Because for example, like when I first started playing that Hyper Meteor game, I was like, oh, I'm just having fun playing this game. Now, if I like die before I get 100 combo, I'm just like, I just might as well start over. There's no point of continuing this run. Man. You know, you get into like such a different headspace once you know, and I'm not typically, again, I'm not like this crazy like leaderboard chaser unless I just like happen to like have a chance, like in Downwell. Like, I just like get really high combos. I'm not like by any, like, I mean, there are people who can combo their way through the whole entire game, and I have no idea how they do that, but like, I can get a pretty high combo, and I'm like, oh, hey, I'm in the top 100 here. And like, once I get a little taste of that, then I'm like, how high can I get? You know, I know I'm never going to be number one unless it's Critter Crunch, but like in Hyper Meteor, I kind of feel like I have a chance. Like I'm like, you have it, because like there is a threshold of like after you, like I think it's like at 1,000 points, you get a free life and an extra bomb, and then at 2,000, and then at 4,000, and then it just keeps doubling. So, like, obviously, as time goes on, it gets way tougher to get a 1-up. But still, you, like, theoretically can keep getting them. So,
yeah.
I don't know. But, yeah, something about checking off those lists, whether it's, you know, in whatever fashion, it just gets addicting.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, even if it's completely useless. Like, I'm playing my game that I was going to play this year, East Book 2. Best believe I'm going to fill out the full inventory, even though I'm not going to use half of those weapons or armor. It's going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah, buddy. Yeah, that's what I'm keep coming back to in Monster Hunter. I don't even use the majority of the weapons. I'm still gonna craft them.
Yep.
Yep.
You have to.
It's got to fill out those slots.
You actually do not have to.
Yes, you do.
Oh man, that's too funny. Even when you were talking about Disco Elysium earlier or whatever, like that was like my biggest thing with RPGs is like I always like I used to be very much a completionist gamer. Like I would be like I remember trying to play Grandia. I bought like the PS1 or maybe I bought the Dream. No, I think it was PS1. Whatever version I was playing though, I was like going through and I was like I was kind of into that game. I truly was like kind of into it. But then visuals. I was like I would get to exactly, and like even the combat was like just had a little wrinkle to it that was. I can't remember even how it worked, but I was into that game, even the story. But then I'd like get to a town and I would just have this compulsion. I got to go into every fucking house. I got to talk to every person. I got to open every little, nightstand and every cupboard and every this. And then like at a point, it just becomes like tedious to me. And like this game that I was enjoying now becomes like a chore to play. And it's just like trying to find that like line of like, don't overdo the curiosity. Like I've talked about it with Uncharted too. It was Uncharted.
Oh yeah.
2. I think it was like actually Uncharted 2. Because the first game just had these like hidden relics all over the map and you could just find them wherever, but they were like kind of on a table. Like you would see them in
a corner.
Yeah. They'd be in like kind of a spot that you might come across. In Uncharted 2, or maybe it was 3, but I'm pretty sure it was 2. Like they would just be like up in a tree that you would just have to be like, you literally, if you wanted to find them all, you just have to like go into every area, scan like a 360 degree everything, and then shoot it out of the tree. It's just like, this is just not worth the squeeze. Like I'm not getting the satisfaction where it was fun to explore the levels, but now it's just like, okay, I'm like just wasting my time trying to find these.
That is
like,
a
find
thing
the right balance
about Death's Door that is like, it is such a lean and like well like designed game, and so much of it gives you all of the resources in the game itself. Like there is an NPC that like if you talk to them, they will let you know what the areas are that you should look for, like the remaining like shrines which give you power-ups. There is, once you beat the game and see credits, every door that has something, a secret that you have yet to discover is highlighted. So once those doors no longer glow, you know you have found everything in there. And like it gives you all of this like text in game without it being a literal checklist. And it is so elegant, and like it doesn't explicitly even tell you outright, but like you put it together. It's like, this door's not glowing red anymore. I don't need to go back.
There's nothing else in there. Yeah, exactly. That kind of stuff is really, really slick. Yeah.
Yeah. But
I got to go back to that game because I got kind of torn between Death's Door and Tunic and never really played much of either of them. And I really, really was digging both of them a lot.
It's on Game Pass. Look at
Hell yeah, baby.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Heck yeah.
Downloading.
Got to hop on that ASAP. Yeah. Including Neon White. I had that written down on the list of games here because I was like, it's on Game Pass. I'm definitely going to play that by the next time we record, and I still haven't fired it up. So,
yeah.
Oh, man. But I don't know, anything else we want to gab about here tonight before we go too far off the rails here?
Not this week.
Nice.
No, that was great.
Perfect. Well, yeah, as always, you can find us on the internet at pursuingpixels.com and pretty much everywhere else on the internet. And otherwise, we'll catch you next week. And until then, take care.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
I feel like I forgot something there at the end, but that works. That works.
When do you unlock challenges in Balatro? Do you have to?
I know. I was just wondering. I was like, are they unlocked or are they just there?
I think they're there. At least some of them are there from the beginning.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Because I've not done any of them, and like, I'm not. Oh man.
I vaguely remember like seeing that as like a menu option somewhere, but I never clicked on it.
Challenge mode is unlocked by winning a regular run with 5 different decks.
Oh, whoa, okay. Yeah, no, I'm not even fucking
then
close.
I definitely haven't seen it. Yeah, I've only beaten it with 1 deck.
Same. Yeah.